Welcome back to the Iwaki Show, and today we are talking about game number 3 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. And this one goes the Bruins' way. To Beantown goes the win as they lead the series 2-1 after picking up the 4-2 win in Toronto. And the Toronto crowd, I don't know, this year just feels so different. Last year, the Toronto crowd was like so white hot in their own building, and I don't know if it's just because they were really winning that series against Tampa, and it really did look like it was gonna go Toronto's way that year, and it did. And it just felt like every moment was just like all the momentum. The crowd was cheering. The outside arena crowd was just electric. But I don't know. There's something missing about this playoffs, and I think it's because there's just the Maple Leafs. Even though the series is close, it's 2-1, every game has been somewhat close. But to me, my first thing, the second thing I wrote, is Toronto has not been bad, right? I don't want you to get that perception at all. I do not think that at all. Toronto has not played bad for once. Okay, maybe for 1 second. A couple times they've been not the best. But overall, their game has been gritty. They've been pushing. They've been playing good off. Like, they're in the offensive zone, trying to get things cooking. But my biggest issue is that the lethality of the Maple Leafs just has not been there. And I know it's like with Nylander out, the lines have been shuffled and it's kind of messy. Guys have to be brought in, and I don't know, and they're already not known for having the best defense or shutdown or the best depth in the world. And in these games, it's really been showing. There is just a lack of any sort of true fight from the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's felt like all skill, because this team is one of the best teams in the league, but when it comes to playoff fighting, right? You have to fight in the playoffs. You have to grind. You have to be gritty. You have to stand up, hit your opponent, shut them down, play good systems, play good offense and defense, have good goaltending. And just there's something missing from the Toronto game, right? Because I know they've been winning at times, and in fact they've won a game, but it just feels like they've never been the winners of a game. They've never felt like they were in control of the game. They never felt like they were the one running house, setting up in the offensive zone, running back and forth. And the biggest thing, especially as someone who's played hockey to watch this game, is that they've never made it look like Boston is panicking, right? And you can see in this game with Domi hit on Swayman during the TV timeout and kind of the whole Marchand and Bertuzzi thing. To me, I don't remember who it was. I think it was it Montgomery who said it? Maybe it was. But whatever coach or whoever said this is that it looks like the Bruins are in the Maple Leafs' head. With the Domi little cheap shot to Swayman during the timeout, and the Bertuzzi thing, which then led to Frederick's goal, it just feels like the Maple Leafs are. It feels like they're really punching up, you know? And I know technically they are because they're lesser in the standings than the Bruins, but it just feels like they're not playing as equals, right? It feels like the Maple Leafs are panicking. It makes it feel like the Maple Leafs aren't in control and they're really resisting the Bruins. And when you're resisting someone, that means the other team is oppressing you. They are the one in power. And that is kind of just how this series has felt to me, is that it feels like the Bruins are in control and the Maple Leafs are punching back, and that is a fine thing. But the issues that the Maple Leafs have, they're not convincing me they're going to punch back enough to get in control, and then the Bruins have to resist, right? It's felt like the Bruins are in control of this series. They're the ones getting the big hits. They're the ones getting all the more momentum and the big goals and the big pressure. And it showed in this game, because so first of all, Matthew Knies' goal, that wasn't the first good goal for the Maple Leafs, but in this game, they scored that goal early in the game with the nice feed from Tavares to, I forget who, but then the feed back to Matthew Knies, who apparently, according to a lot of comments, is my lookalike. I don't see it, but whatever. Matthew Nyes, he gets the nice, like, the backdoor goal early against Swayman to get the goal scoring going for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And even that goal, right, that felt more like the Bruins, like, oh, well, we made a mistake, we didn't get a stick on the puck. It didn't feel like, oh, the pressure of the Maple Leafs, they keep it in, cycling it around, they keep it in the zone, you know? It just felt like, oh, that was just a bad rush by the Bruins, they didn't defend it well, brush it off, move on. And then they did, because then they move on later into the game, and Trent Frederick ties it up with his second goal of the series, and Frederick has been looking good. But the weirdest thing about it is that Marchand and Bertuzzi are all tied up in the middle of the ice, and this made me so annoyed because the commentators, they were pissed about this. They were so mad that Marchand was tangled up with Bertuzzi and tripped him up, but the two were doing what every hockey player does all of the time. You watch any game, like Lomberg in the Florida game, right? Behind the play, the two guys are mixed up. Lomberg's the one that gets the advantage on top of the guy. Same thing happens here, but because it's Marchand and it's the Toronto team, then everyone makes a big deal about that. But Domian's just running into the goaltender, which is such a childish thing to do. Everyone's like, puh, whatever. That's just whatever. But this is what Ray Ferraro, for God's sakes, if he could just shut his stupid mouth for once in a while. But he's just like, oh my God, like, that is ridiculous. And it's just like, oh, like, I'm not, like, the biggest Bruins fan in the world by any means, and I really don't care about the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it's just so annoying because these two teams, they just, I don't know. Like, the commentating there was whatever, but Trent Frederick scores on the goal when all the attention's on that play, and it's just a simple goal. He just skates down the wing, defenseman's in front of him, doing a good job to keep the shot on the outside. Simple shot, and Samsonov, it doesn't save it. DeBrusk's goal later on gets his third of the series on the power play, and this is one of those goals that you need to score in the playoffs. This is a Matthew Tkachuk kind of goal, where the puck's in front of the net, the guy gets his hips out, he widens his hips, opens up, grabs the puck, able to shoot it shoot it over the goaltender who's laying down on the ground. That's a good playoff goal, to get in front of the net, get those slot plays, get those crease goals. And good goal by DeBrusk. Bertuzzi's goal was nice as well for the Bruins, and the game was tied up because Bertuzzi gets that goal, ties up the game. It's like, there we go. Maple Leaf fans are going crazy, and the next shift, the plays behind the boards, gets it to Marchand, who's just kind of like in the circle, the left side circle, gets it and just shoots it beautifully over the shoulder of Samsonov, who just like left the smallest of gaps for it to go in, and it goes top shelf, and Marchand shows up, and that's one of the things, and that is where you see the difference between why a team like Boston, who then he gets another empty net goal as well, but why Boston wins series and is going to win this one and not Toronto. Look at the names on the board. Frederick, DeBrusk, Marchand, right? Frederick, who's not a bottom feeder on the team by any means, but I think he's been positioned, he's either second or third line at this point. DeBrusk, first line, Marchand, first line, right? Look at who's scoring these goals. And on the power play, right? They're getting off a flurry of types of plays, right? Where is Matthews? Where is Marner on the board? Where is Tavares, right? Morgan Riley, get him on the board, right? Where are these guys? They're not showing up. Guys like Yarncroc had a fine game, but the issue is that those guys who go out there and have their fine games, they need to find their opportunities after the Stars really push the offense. In this game, I gotta be completely honest, I did not notice Matthews at all. Right now, I'm trying to think of a play he made, and I can't even think of anything. I don't remember Matthews doing it. I remember he had one good play, but Swayman had an awesome save. And speaking of Swayman, he should definitely be the goaltender now. I liked what they were doing to keep the rotation up, because that's what they've been doing. But Swayman is 5-0 now at this point against the Maple Leafs. He needs this. He needs the net. He's been playing ungodly. He has been the best player for the Bruins, and he saved them. He saved them this game, and he is definitely the goaltender. He is the hot one in the net, and he needs to stay in. And I would be shocked if Ullmark is in next game. But yeah, this game, it just doesn't look good for Toronto. Like, and even like the goals, right? Because the Bertuzzi goal was just like, it was lucky, right? I think it was Morgan Riley, he shoots it, And this isn't the normal type of deflection, right? Where you can't like defend. It's like, oh, he was crashing in the net. Sure. But it's the look at these goals by Boston, right? These are all intentional. DeBrusk fighting in front of the net, gets it on his stick, boom, over the goaltender on the ground. Frederick just skating down the ice, boom, just shoots it underneath the glove of the goaltender in. Marchand, beautiful shot in the circle, up close to the net, near the slot, in the dots, and he gets that goal, right? They're all intentional plays. The Bertuzzi one is just like, he wasn't even like intentionally getting his foot there. He was like moving this way, and then his foot just luckily hit the puck, which then bounces perfectly into Lindholm's leg and then into the net. And sure, that's what you got to do in the playoffs. You got to get those lucky goals. I'm not saying that. But that is the difference here, is that this game really could have been easily a 4-1 game. Because that goal, it wasn't intentional, right? Those are the goals that you need after you've been fighting like hell to get goals in the back of the net. And that's why a team like Florida is so good. Because those type of goals from like Kachuk, who scores goals like how DeBrusk does, where he's just in the slot, trying to get those dirty plays, get those chips in the back of the net, and then he does. He gets 2 of those a game, and then luckily, a guy like Bennett or something is just standing in front of the net, bounces off his leg, goes off the goaltender's foot, off the defenseman's foot, and in the back of the net. After playing some ping pong, they have a 3-goal game. Then that's where the difference is the intentionality, is like the Nyes goal. That wasn't because they were pushing the pace, it just happened, it was a bad play by the Bruins, and it just was a lackluster play. The Maple Leafs, if they're going to win this series, they need to start pushing. They need the fire cooking for them, right? The faster the game goes, I think, is the better for the Maple Leafs, especially when they get their guys like Matthews on the ice, because that is what they need to get done. A slow, methodical, strategic game benefits the Bruins by a long shot, because a slow game allows the Maple Leafs to be slow, which allows them to get lit up by guys like Carlo, get lit up by guys like Lindholm and McAvoy to shut down the play, and it just allows, and a fast game allows for mistakes, right? And a team like Toronto, who has a lot of skilled guys, even down the lineup, they have some skilled, more offensive guys, which is one of their issues. But a faster game allows for more mistakes, and that would help them. But they're not pushing the pace. They're playing the Bruins game, and that is really going to hurt them down the long run. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you made this far, and you're listening to this as a Maple Leafs fan, I'm sure you're going to just say I'm completely wrong, but that is the way I see it. And right now, it shows in the score. 2-1 for the Bruins. Swayman shuts them down. The defense is able to shut them down. The offense is able to buzz. And that's all I got to say. So Bruins, I like their odds right now. I think they're going to go the distance. And I think they're going to win this series after this one. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this if you've made it this far. Please, I'm begging you, please subscribe. Please. If you did anything today, just subscribe. Please. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.